Golf course. Mr. Messina. Morning.
Good morning, how are you, sir?
Excellent. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I brought each of you something from the golf course. There seems to be a disconnect when we talk about it, because I'm the only one up there. And I think this will help. Thank you.
His budget's on 230.
So you can see there on the cover page. That is what I inherited a year ago. And those green spots are not grass, those are trees. And you can see the greens are in bad shape. So if we go to page 2, you can see when I say, and when Gary talks about redoing the greens, this is what we had to do. We had to rototill the entire surface. And then in the furrows, we had to put the proper chemicals to get the pH down. The pH value was too high in the soil to grow the grass. The next page is a wonderful picture of our 30-year-old sprinklers. And this is how they behave sometimes. When we turn the water on, they just blast into the air, make a big mess.
Mr. Goldfield.
Yes. Well, it's quite a mess when this happens, believe me. But then you can see on the next picture, we have the sprinklers operating. And that green that you see in the background is the finished green from the original picture, page 2 that I showed you where the furrows are. So that's what we rototilled. And then that's your finished green right there, which is now in use. Then the next page is our February end of the month. And we did make $6,000 that month, which was really a good month for us. And in the process, I did complete my superintendent certification. So I'm supposed to know what I'm doing now. And then on the last page are the reviews that are posted online. And we've improved the reviews from 3.6 to 4.6. And so some of them are there for you to see. Any questions? Thank you. So on the budget, starting with uniforms, we didn't spend anything on uniforms last year. We preferred to, but we just used what we had. So what I would say. But the next level, the next section, alcohol training, mechanical training, turf management, safety course. We did recover the alcohol permit to sell. And so we had alcohol training for 2 of us so that we can sell beer. That is picking up. And then the reality here is, as you looked at those photos, you can see we're growing grass, the greens are in, we're doing better month by month with customers and customer service. So then we're thinking that we're going to have to mow more often. I guess you could call it job security. And so we're going to need our fuel budget, and more people will be golfing, and that fuel budget includes the golf carts. The golf carts are all gasoline, they're not electric. And then $1,000 for the pro shop, the barns, and the storage. We do need to do some work on the original cart barn. The doors are, they need some help. They don't want to open and close correctly. And then on the rent of equipment, what we did when we improved the greens were we only did 6 of the 9 greens. So that leaves us 3 greens to do this August. The reason we only did 6 was because when we cut the greens down and rototilled them, we had to develop temporary greens in front of the green on the fairway. Customers don't like that very much. And so we only did 6 instead of 9. So the 3 greens that we didn't do last year, we will do in August. And that is reflected in Warm Springs rental and other situations here on our description of rent of equipment. because we did rent the rototiller and other equipment to get that done. And then if we move down to, we do have a problem on the golf course we need to take care of. We get a lot of feedback about, and that is we have 17 dead trees on the golf course, which is a reflection of page 1 that I gave you in the notes. For all the time before I got there that the watering system wasn't working because of effort, a lot of trees died. So now we have at least 15 trees that need cut down and trimmed up before they're a bigger problem. And so we have a need for a chainsaw, at least 1, 3 new weed eaters and any attachments that we need for the tractors, and a floor jack to work on the golf carts. And that may not seem that important, but we have mesquite all over the golf course. And when people drive over the mesquite, it gives them flat tires, and we're changing flat tires weekly, 4 or 5 a week. Even when we ask them to stay on the cart path, it doesn't always work that way.
Not if you play golf like I do.
Okay. And then we have gotten one of our tractors back. Once again, when I took over the golf course, the machinery was really not maintained, very run down. And we sent it all to, we sent 4 tractors to United Ag in Albuquerque. We received 1 back, and we're hoping for the best. We're hoping that we get tractors back that are going to service us for the summer, because now we have grass. Now we need the mowers. Any questions?
Questions? Most of your revenues, are those in the form of annual receipts? Or when people buy 6 month to a year subscriptions?
Yes,
And that's why you had that one big month.
yes.
But do we get any regular golfers that are not using the subscriptions?
Oh, yes. Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's improving every day. You know, it really is. For example, we were having Saturdays where we had 2 golfers all day. Now we're up into the teens. We're into 14, 15 golfers a day. It's growing. And the growth is from the new greens. People are getting the word that, hey, they fixed the greens are nice. And you can see in the reviews, the response to the
Yeah, I
greens.
saw that. How's the men's league and the women's league doing?
Men's league has doubled. The women's league is, they're not golfing. They come and they meet once a month on Thursdays.
Okay.
So the camaraderie is still there, but they're not golfing. The men are golfing. The men will golf in 50-mile-an-hour wind. They want to golf way more than I do.
Good. I guess if you make a green, people will golf.
Yes. My son, who's a golf pro, told me, Dad, if you put greens in, people will show up. Got to have tees and greens. Gary will tell you that. If you don't have tees and greens, you don't have a golf course.
Any major plans for the golf course this year?
The major plans would be continuing. So I'll give you an example. Hole number 5 is the only par 5 on the golf course. We were 2 buried. Over the winter, we found 35. And so those 35 sprinklers are running every day. Our plan is to continue to water the fairways now that the greens are in and have grass everywhere. So it's improved greatly. There's lots of grass now, but it's getting better every day. So the plan would be more grass, more paint.
Okay. Any other comments, questions?
Mayor Pro Tem, just to, want to piggyback and jump on it. We also have lodger's tax, which we'll talk about this afternoon. That's how we pay for some of the maintenance. We'll go over that there. Just to really re-support Bob, the plan again this year is to take the next step, right? We're trying to bring in, we had pumps go down out there this year. We have one that should be back in a couple of weeks repaired. So we'd like to add another pump, right? There's 2 pumps that run the golf course and the affluent system there. We need a third. We're trying, my plan is to make sure we have redundancy. So if something goes down, it doesn't fail. So just really the projects that we'll continue to do would just be to enhance what we already currently have. We did send all those tractors out for repair, which is great. They're going to be really healthy for a couple of years, which should lean into this figuring out how to then plan for, improving those down the road. So I think that's really the message that Bob is giving you here to take away is just take what we've done and make it just a little bit better at this point.
No, I drive by it every day. I see the improvements. It's good.
Done a really good job there. We're trending really nice.
So my question is, how many members are there currently?
There are 5 members currently.
But we have here on weekends,
Mhm.
weekly pretty much walk-ins.
Yeah.
How many are there per week or per month? About,
Well, as I said, on Saturdays, we were seeing 3 or 4 players. Now we're up to teams, 14 or 15 on Saturdays. The same on Wednesday and Thursday, we have walk-ins. So it's growing. It's definitely growing.
Any plans for any kind of tournaments later on this year or anything?
I would say we
Yeah,
don't have that
next year.
kind of playing right now. We're just not ready. We're just not completely filled out.
Right.
Okay. And if we did it, I think that it would work worse for us than better. I think a year from now, we'll really be ready. But if we did it right now, I don't think it would. I think people would be disappointed
Right.
for right now. I'd like to say yes, but the greenskeeper in me says we're not ready.
No, I understand. People that see the changes daily see the changes. But if you weren't here last year and you came back this year, you saw the changes.
Yes.
So I know we're moving in the right direction. Perhaps we can do a big event next year where we can have kind of a grand opening type thing.
Yes, I would agree.
And tell everybody that we're back.
Yes, I would agree.
We're in operation and maybe do a promotion. I think that would be a good thing for that golf course.
I agree.
But I'd leave that up to you. Just tell us when you're ready for it.
Yes, we have some work to do yet. And the amazing part of this is that the progress we've made with 40 new sprinklers.
Right.
Remember, now there's 385 sprinklers on that golf course, most of which they don't want to come to work every day. You have to monitor them all the time. They get filled up. But the improvements we made were when we budgeted for new sprinklers. And when we put those new sprinklers in, and they work every day constantly, and we're not having to run out there and use them all the time. That's been a big improvement. If we can get another 45 sprinklers, it will really improve our situation.
Is your water supply adequate?
Water supply is very adequate. And when I started there, the guys that come every day, twice a week, the men's club, they would say, Bob, lost your mind. Not going to grow grass here. The water's bad. The pump is bad. Sprinklers don't work. If I would have listened to that, I wouldn't be here. I didn't listen to that because that's all rumor. None of that was true. That effluent water is actually good for the grass. There are nutrients in them that we don't have to pay for. As a matter of fact, all that grass that you see growing on the golf course, we never bought one grass seed. That was all just brought back by watering. So it's going to be okay.
Are these new sprinklers getting plugged up like they were before or not?
No.
And why is that?
Well, because this is what I think. Historically, I don't think the water was being used every day. I don't think the system was being run all the time. There were rumors that there was algae was the problem and this is the problem and that's the problem. Well, we run the water every day. Now, yes, some of the older sprinklers, the 30-year-old ones, they do plug up and we do have to deal with them. But the new ones just keep working. And that is because we're doing it all the time. It doesn't sit for, 3 weeks and then we turn it on. If you do that, you will have a problem. But what the new sprinklers are just phenomenal.
You have to make a purchase of new sprinklers in addition to,
We'd like to. Well, actually, what we bought were refurbished ones.
right?
You know, we searched around and found refurbished, rebuilt Rainbirds, and they've been phenomenal.
Is that part of your budget?
Yes.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Sir, good job.
Yeah, thank you.
Next, we have Parks with Cesar. His budget's on page 37.
Morning.
Cesar, how are you?
Pretty good yourself?
Yes, thank you.
So, most of my budget almost stayed the same. I know that we get 2 seasonals, and that's including, well, that's including it there, but then I go down to my overtime. At the beginning of the year when I started, my overtime was at 3,000, and they had to increase it to 8,000. And I would like to keep it at a minimum of 8,000 as well. I know that they have it as 3,000 again. And, you know, I'm missing one of my guys every Monday because of it. So he locks up for me every day and unlocks Saturday and Sundays. So to make it work, so I'm not going over my budget on overtime, I have him take off on Mondays. And that's, you know, that keeps my overtime without, you know, going over. But I would like to either keep it at 8,000 or increase a little bit more than that. If that would be possible.
How difficult is it to retain staffing?
Pretty difficult. We're understaffed right now. I'm missing one employee right now. And, you know, I haven't made interviews yet. We are understaffed right now. And having him take a day off, and that just leaves 2 of us in the field. And it's hard to manage all the parks and other little stuff that come up. And, everything's pretty about the same. The fuel, I know we asked for more fuel money, because we were only at 8,000 this past year. And we asked for an increase this year, keep it at 12,000. We used about, in the summertime, about 1,000 a month. Just on, you know, all our trucks and fuel for our weed eaters, mowers. So we're asking for an increase to 12,000. And then I know in the winter it slows down, so that probably evens out. It's pretty close to the same. I know that we had asked for an increase for fuel supplies as well. And not much of an increase, but just so we have more wiggle room just for everything in general. We use our budget to help like the pool and other departments like that. So we don't ever have that much extra money for like aid hardware and stuff. I would like to have a little bit more budget there. And I would also like to get a new mower, a commercial mower. We have 2 grasshoppers that take turns breaking down. So we have a part one. And this past summer, they would take turns breaking down, and we had to use our part mowers to take parts, put them together. And at one point, they both broke down at the same time. And I was without them for about a month. So I ended up buying a smaller mower from Tractor Supply, like 5,000. But it's not commercial. Like, it's not meant to be doing big acres and stuff. Like we have the cemetery, the Ralph Edwards Park. And so I got a quote on 2 different mowers. Sorry I wasn't able to print it. I was kind of busy this morning. So one of the mowers, the
I was looking at a a Kubota diesel, and it was priced at $23,000. And, a grasshopper was,
Is the Grasshopper also diesel?
yes, sir. I would like to put that, get that a budget approved, so I don't have any mowers.
Do you buy items in bulk,
We do,
like weed eater string, things like that?
yes, we do, we get it, we're going through, the Ace and Hatch, well, that's what we were going with last time. And we get our weed eater strings in bulk, or sometimes we do it not, so it just depends, which gives us the better price deal. Sometimes we do it through Amazon. We
Right.
get a bulk of weed eater string, the 2-cycle oil, stuff and get it on bulks.
Might be a good time to start a relationship with the new Ace.
Yes, I actually started talking to the owners, and we are trying to work on something so we can, it's closer here and give it to our local stores here. So that's what
Tell me
we're
what
trying.
you order on, maybe
Yes, so they're pretty good about it, and I can go in whenever and ask them for a part if I need something from them. They'll charge just whatever it's price at. So they've been my go-to right now, especially with the new supplies they have in there. Been really good.
So the mower estimate was not in
No.
this budget, but I just added it to the budget.
can put in capital for the next budget cycle. Okay, I think that's fine. Okay, any questions? Okay,
Oh, before I forget, I know last time we spoke, I said I was gonna get a quote on resurfacing the tennis courts and basketball courts. So together, I got quoted for $162,000 and $162,000 together. And that's with making the tennis courts a dual pickleball court as well. But if we want to separate, the basketball court would be $31,250,000. And that would be, they said they would increase $10,000 on it because it's a small project, it's a small basketball court.
Is this the one at Rock Edwards Park?
Yes, ma'am. So we want to put a court decks on it, make it a little more grippier, and it'll change colors. It'll be it won't change color. It'll be a blue color. That's what I would think. And the pickleball court separately would be $139,000 with $62. And that's with the pickleball tennis court as well.
Are any of those eligible for grants?
So I'm not 100% sure, but I think we could try to look for grants.
I think instead of coming out with that money out of our own pockets, and, I wouldn't mind doing a match or something along those lines if we're gonna go that way. If we wanted to do that, it's probably gonna be worth the research to do that, right, Gary?
Yes.
Not saying no, just saying, find a way, be creative, find a way to get it spent
We just won't,
or give us money.
not,
Yes, sounds good. I just wanted to say that I looked into it because I know our tennis court needs every service, and then our basketball court does too.
Yeah.
That's trying to throw it in there.
That is well, we agree with you.
good shot.
Okay, any other good? Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the pool with Jesse Robinson, and that is on page 1 and 2.
Morning. So
start out with what you accomplished with last year, the major things, the things you want to accomplish this year, the major things. And then, as far as your budget goes, anything that's changed drastically up or down, give us an explanation of that, and then we'll be happy.
All right. Well, last season we didn't have a cut ground, so got off with that. And I think within the first month last year with having the pool so pretty and balanced, took a lot of teamwork. We I think within the first month we doubled the revenue of the previous year. So people were definitely interested in coming back to the pool. We let's see. At least one returning lifeguard. Got a great work environment. What we've accomplished through the off season is huge between everybody, the parks and myself and everyone. We've completely stripped and resurfaced the bathrooms. All new paper towel dispensers and toilet dispensers that were ancient and or broken. Soap dispensers, ones that were broken and are replaced. We've got some non-stick mats for some troubled spots we had outside. Got cracked and beat up parts of the deck. Look good. They've been filled in and polished down, sanded down. Parts of our outside drains that were broken have been replaced. The pool had been drained and power washed, acid washed, completely rid of any mold. There's a main seal between the gutter skimmer and the pool that had gotten redone. And this is all without contractors. This is all city employees doing all this work. The grates, the drains over surrounding the whole pool had exposed fiberglass, and instead of trying to hit the city with, oh, we need brand new those, I took it upon myself and completely sanded them down and resurfaced them and painted them. So they're ready to go. They're bolted down. That we had cones around the whole deck last year. We won't have any cones this year. No obstacles for people to watch out for. I know this year the lifeguard training's gone up $50. So I think we're trying to hire 6 guards. However, one of them doesn't need to be retrained. She's current, as well as myself, but not counting myself, it's going to be $50 more per guard times 5 guards, I believe. I'm getting a new computer. That computer really was done. It's a dinosaur, and it was impossible to keep running. So I haven't been able to stay up with my emails. I'm always running to somebody else's computers. It's been a big hassle. So I'm still learning the ropes. I know as for field supplies, we're asking for a lot more because we really need to keep the pool up through the off season. The man hours and the supplies needed just don't add up. It will save more money keeping the pool swimmable, even though nobody's going to be there, without running the heater, of course. It's just way cheaper to keep the pool nice and good to go throughout the whole winter. So that's why we're asking more on that. We've got all new lifeguarding equipment as ours was shot, damaged, broken. It was worthy to get through last year, but you know, it's kind of tacky looking up at a lifeguard holding a tube that's been have chunks taken out of it, and you know, people sit around bored peeling them apart. I try to keep an eye on them, but you know, so we've got all new everything. We're ready to open. We've got all of our chemicals are on standby, like ready to go. Now I do know for the regular building maintenance budget, it says 10 grand. So we're in the talks and works right now of getting an estimate to get the pool resurfaced before next season. So couldn't really put anything in there. I know it's gonna run about 30 to 40 grand from the research that I've done. Up to, because it could be upwards of $20 a square foot. So I don't really know how to go about asking that besides getting the quote and then going through the appropriate channels. Because so the 10 grand is not gonna cut it, but the pool needs resurfaced real bad. There's some cracks that had developed. We're gonna be slowly losing a little bit of water out of the bottom of the pool this year from that. With all the pits that are eaten up in the ancient pool, it's room for black mold to grow. And we get in there and scrub it. We put the appropriate chemicals and kill it, but it's constantly eating up our manpower, our chemicals, and it's just, it looks bad, you know, once it gets real bad towards the end of the year. So with the pool resurfacing, honestly, that'll help save water and chemicals in the end. As for that, the deck's gonna get a coating on it for anti-slip. And I know we're gonna try to work out carrying some snacks and drinks for people there at the pool. And that'll actually encourage people to stay, you know, I mean, people leave for simple things as drinks and snacks, and we'd like to keep them there, you know, all day. Many people as we can. I know the price for the pool changed down to $1. And I'm hoping that'll increase, you know, we can make it up over quantity of people. But as long as it's getting used, I mean, right, the park's barely bringing any money. It's a quality of life deal. But with the teamwork we've had, it's actually a good quality of life. We have people from all over the world come to stay here and they use the pool. So we'd appreciate any help or extra help we can get.
Questions?
Just a clarification on the pool resurface, it's typically done every 5 to 7 years, depending. Our last resurface was 2018, so it's been a while,
Remember what that cost?
about maybe $50,000-ish, maybe more.
And then what are your thoughts about keeping the pool cleaned up year round versus letting it?
Well, I don't know, I want to talk to wastewater about their chlorine thing. If they can get a gas chlorine to do it, it might be better, but you're gonna lose a little bit of money on chemicals, but you're gonna save the 220,000 gallons of water you have to put in at the beginning of every season. So, I mean, it's just like making sure if we have a pool supervisor who works all winter long, you know, that can keep the pool from getting all algified.
Right.
You know, I think it's because we can't drain it, unfortunately, so. I think that would be a better bet than what we've done in the past, where we just let it sit for 6 months, 8 months and become black and then have to try to
all this,
start
all the
over.
manpower and the staff time, you know, just, and it makes sense, right? Just maintain it throughout. Really.
Maintaining, maintenance is easier than.
Part of our issue is, you know, the chlorine's so expensive. You know, it's $120 a barrel. The acid is $220 a barrel. And we're going through what, a barrel every couple of days or something.
For sure,
So
yeah.
it's just, it's a lot to maintain. So there's the struggle, right? So.
But if the pool's closed over the winter, as long as it's not open to the public, you don't have to have it up to a 2 and a 7.4 or whatever. You can always slack a little bit to where algae doesn't grow.
Okay, any other comments, questions?
Great job. They worked hard. Yeah, really appreciate it. Yeah,
That's open.
Definitely a team effort, though.
Thank you.
Jesse.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Thomas Poole from Facility Management, and his budget's on page 50.
on the outside, the roof, we got the floor into the clerk's office recarpeted, and they got new cupboards, for the kitchen area. We're working on a couple items for the airport. We're trying to get the ground fixed out there. And we should be coming out there the 15th or 16th of this month. That'll be taken. Also, we did a door for utilities, put in a new door for them over there for the office.
They put a lot of chairs together for us too.
Mayor Pro Tem would just like to kind of say and thank Thomas. He's in the middle of transition. Our department head retired in the mid-year, and Tom has kind of picked up the torch as we're kind of redeveloping our structure. As you guys know, we've been working through that. But just want to personally say thanks to Thomas. It's been just really, just picked up the torch and continued. They had some good structures going there, and the department's running really well. It'll change up a little bit, but so, with that, we kind of all work together to help put this budget together to help Thomas with that. So, but
How are we doing with staffing, Thomas?
Well, we need some people. I only have 3 guys right now.
How many slots do you have?
Who?
we have 5 total slots, including Thomas, and we have 2 openings at this point. 2 openings.
And these are just standard maintenance type folks?
Yes.
So we're just interview one mayor, for petition.
Okay. Any prospects?
And one of them, they didn't come back, the background, past the background, so, we talked, we're probably gonna offer the next candidate position.
Commissioner, you asked a question?
Oh, so 2 positions who are open, it is here, take 1, then, I guess.
Yeah.
Both of them, and the rest is filled. Okay.
Any questions?
So I'm gonna open a can of worms real quick, Mayor. We're kind of in a post, Dave Johnson, he's left us, he's no longer with us. One thing that I have a little bit of homework doing, and Thomas and I do, is our vector spraying, right? He was our licensed vector sprayer. We've discussed this a little bit. I don't know if that's something that fits the city the best with, contracting that service out, or if it's a city staff member that needs to get their vector license, right? And do that, Thomas is familiar with the areas. He knows the areas, he knows how to work the chemicals and all of that, but we would need a licensed sprayer for that, so.
Isn't vector spraying done mostly at night?
Yes.
And that would take another person away from your staff during the day.
Yeah, it's at nighttime. We go at around 8 and we spray for about 4 hours. And then we come back in the
Now, how long is that season?
It goes from about July to October. But you can only spray so much in a year.
Yeah.
Does
Gary,
the,
Gary, it seems to me like it'd almost be worth contracting that out so that you wouldn't take a staff person away from your already short staff. Right?
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, that's been our conversation, is to look for, there's companies in Las Cruces that do that service regularly. We'd like to look at that, see what that costs. Or potentially we could look at opening up a temporary job, right? Where somebody else in any department could, effectively we could do it. Is there somebody else besides Thomas or to support that? So I think it's not really a can of worms. It's trying to figure out what what the best solution is to then continue to provide that service.
the city also has a contract with the county, and the county offset some of the cost for the chemicals and other items, so that's something we have to caveat into.
Does the county have a sprayer?
The
Versus
city.
sprays?
The city was the
City.
sprayer.
Us.
Oh, we,
You.
I think, go all the way up to Array, they do like animals, stuff like that. And then there's areas that people will call, because we have a spray list and a no spray list. So people will call into the clerk's office to get on either one of them.
So either the county would have to procure their own, or you'd have to try to figure out something to cover that contract. We have a contract right now. But either we break it moving forward and they cover their own, or we coincide as a team again. And take their money.
One of those services that's gonna be central?
So we have to.
Mayor Pro Tem, I would say yes, member of the commission, yeah, it's gonna be a service that we're gonna wanna continue providing. Right?
Guess we'll find a mechanism to do it then. Okay, anything else?
I would like to, we know we need a, I know Dave's been working on it, but the roof for the facility needs to be redone. Budget for that for next year to see if we can get that taken care of. I know he's been working on it, I don't know.
Which facility?
Facilities,
Oh, the facilities building.
also, the office here at the Civic Center. The roof needs to be redone. We keep adding elastic mirrors to it, but for some reason we're still waiting someone to read it.
State program that we're looking at, maybe that's something we could add to that.
Go ahead, go ahead.
And floor in that needs to be redone, and so it's pretty bad in that one room. I worked on that in last year.
Yeah.
How far he got with that.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, I would say, first of all, the municipal league does have a program to evaluate roofs. They, obviously they insure us, so they're trying to solve those issues. And we've asked OJ to start following up, with the pool open here. We'll reach out to them and see if they won't come. They'll come down and do a free assessment of all of our roofs. In the general fund budget under your particular portion, we'll talk about it later. Last year, we put 200,000 in to do the police department. We'll continue that. That's going to be the investment for that construction. And I've asked, I'm going to try to hold that same amount to do other buildings. Obviously, we'd like to go to City Hall and repair it. And so potentially we could do some roof repair when they come down. And then part 3, again, we'll talk about these more when we get to your budgets, but the Civic Center is really due for some repairs. And we have, I've done an analysis. You'll see that when we get to lodgers. We have about $300,000 there we could spend. And so we need to fix the roof, do those repairs that Thomas is. And so the Civic Center is easier than all the other buildings. So we have some fun. So we will be presenting ideas on those.
I know he brought up to you about some new appliances.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to try to do the appliances in the Civic Center. They've had some ideas and goals there. Lighting, lighting's one of the big issues that he had presented. So we'd like to see those things come together. We have the funds to do it. So those will definitely be happening.
Okay.
So I have here one question. We have here multiple buildings and one of them is Old Armory. And just out of curiosity, the Armory is pretty much when it comes to roof leaks or anything sealed up, but it is a kind of fancy building. So, but here that they are not occurring over time, more damage. Is it otherwise solid when it comes to leaks or anything?
We're talking about the
It's the Armory.
armor. No, that roof's pretty bad. That's just.
Okay.
And we've had that looked at to have it checked out, but that's gonna be quite an expense. I don't remember what they said to have that redone. Once that roof, if it gets redone, then yeah, that could be used for whatever, like we can use it.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we are not losing. Otherwise, good buildings,
Yeah,
good sized buildings for the
you
future.
had a new electric panel put in because the other one got fried because the roof leaked and just went right inside the electric panel. So all that's new there, though.
Okay, so this was one more thing here, but when it comes to roofing.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas, very much.
Next, we have, these last two should go pretty fast.
Yeah.
It's the vent wall, and it's on page 124. OJ handles that, so we'll end that one. I think he was prepared for the.
I was prepared for the cemetery. That's 2 line items, right?
On the.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, so it looks like telephone got up a little bit, and then we're not budgeting anything for maintenance repairs for the veterans wall, so there's not much change on that budget. Are there any questions on that one? And I think we've got the cemetery next, right? So,
Cemetery budget's on 203 if there's any questions or comments on the.
Oh, just gonna say, we just approved lodger's tax money. Those messenger boards or the signs at the veterans wall?
Yeah.
So that's capital money or where's that? That's lodger's tax.
Lodger's tax money.
Okay. But that doesn't reflect in the budget anywhere or how do we?
Well, it's Mayor Pro Tem, it'll come out of lodger tax funding for this year. They're gonna spend it now, that the board approved that investment, so we had the funds in 25-26 budget. So.
We did the purchase order already too. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Move on to the cemetery?
yes, sir.
Cemetery's on page 203.
So Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, you'll see a slight increase for the Hot Springs Cemetery Association contract. We pay them in quarterly installments, $1,000 a quarter for the maintenance of the Hot Springs Cemetery. Since I've been affiliated with the city, this contract has remained the same it was $4,000 per year with $1,000 quarterly payments. I would request that we move this up to $1,200 per quarter, making it $4,800 a year. The Hot Springs Cemetery Association, I participate in their meetings. They have been the exact same, like I said, for the last 9 years at least that I've been with the city. And if you guys know Jay, he's a madman over there. He goes crazy on that cemetery. It's a one-man operation as far as the maintenance goes. Arrow does help him occasionally, but for what he accomplishes over there, it's pretty remarkable. It really is. So I just request a slight increase for the Hot Springs Cemetery Association and the maintenance of the Hot Springs Cemetery. And then you'll also see for other contractual services, this is our all funeral services contract. This would be $150 per month, to equal $1,800 a year. This is for our search of burial, and then also our website we have with all funeral services. as far as documenting and keeping track of records and things of that nature. So
Any questions? No. Everybody's good? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, that
Thank you.
takes us, we stay on, kind of almost on schedule. Let's do a break for lunch. We'll break for lunch till 1 o'clock. We start with Lodgers tax.
Before we break, I wanted to take a moment to introduce our new finance specialist, Karina.
Yeah. You want to come up to the mic for a minute and talk to us?
Got me a shock right there.
Welcome.
She's a great asset to the team. Just wanted to introduce her because she doesn't see you guys.
Good. All right, well, we're gonna adjourn. It's now,
53, 11:50.
11:53, 12 o'clock. We'll adjourn till 1 o'clock and we'll resume. So let's break for lunch.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.